Hello, everyone. I'm Reverend Richard Miner. I'm the Graduate Engagement Officer here at One Spirit Learning Alliance in New York City. And today I have the really distinct pleasure of being here with Miranda Macpherson. Miranda, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. It's great to be here. I'm really looking forward to coming back to One Spirit.
Miranda, you have an amazing list of credentials. You are an author, you are a spiritual teacher. You founded our sister organization, the One Spirit Interfaith Foundation in London. You're currently leading the Living Grace Sangha in Northern California. You have an amazing new book coming out as well, The Way of Grace, The Transforming Power of Ego Relaxation, which happens to be the name of the class that you're going to be teaching here. Can you tell me a little bit about the class, who should take it, and why?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm very passionate about grace, and I think that it's so important in this day and age where so much of what we're seeing pervading our planet is a consciousness of fear and separation that's been getting pretty extreme lately. So it seems to me that our world is really in need of grace in all of its aspects. And one of the things that I have to say is that grace is way more than just this beautiful term, this beautiful state that fills our heart with gratitude. Grace has four ways or dimensions. It's four ways in which it comes online in our direct experience. Firstly, grace is the unchanging ground of our being. And when we relax out of fear and control, we start to see that we're held by something much greater and larger than our mind can even fathom. And this gives us the capacity to truly gain traction on the path, to move beyond the ego commentary and the judgment and the control that usually blights even the best of us on the spiritual path. Grace is also the nourishment, the blessings, the gifts that come into our life in exactly the ways we need to answer our prayers, to end the spiritual drought, to help us reconnect with real love, with joy, with peace, and that help us to refine in our consciousness through the time-tested spiritual virtues of patience, trust, humility, and joy. Grace is also the living presence that transforms our consciousness, that helps us cross over from a consciousness of separation to truly abiding in the non-dual, in our true nature. And so it works through time-tested spiritual technologies like true forgiveness and compassion and the capacity to really discriminate the layers of our ego and disidentify from those stories that can so often appear as repeating patterns in our life. But most importantly and ultimately, grace is a new way of being, a more spiritually mature, integrated way of being that helps us to walk through this world with equanimity, with clarity, with deep connection, so that we can be a more graceful human being, ultimately living in the both worlds, the mystical and the ordinary at the same time. And while it's very mystical, grace is ultimately extremely practical because all of this inner work is so that we can action and live into what we intuitively might have felt in moments on the meditation cushion. So who should take this class? Everybody, but particularly anyone who's a minister or is in the ministry training. I would imagine that this would be extremely beneficial because I'm coming from the same root that we all are, which is we're drawing from the perennial truth at the world's wisdom traditions. But what I bring specifically is 3 decades of working with people all over the world, and a particular way that I work with people that helps to cut through the patterns of suffering using this methodology that I call ego relaxation. So we're not trying to just understand our ego. We're not trying to just transcend our ego. We're actually learning to let the ego relax. Let fear relax, let control relax. And what happens in that is it's a little bit like the troublesome bits of your personality can settle down. A little bit like a boisterous pet can settle down in your lap when it's met with love and understanding. And what happens is we gain compassion and more understanding about ourselves and about other human beings. And all this comes alive through a methodology that will make up the format of our weekend. It's got three wings to it: holistic inquiry, which we practice in dyads. So about a third of the weekend will take the form of really juicy inquiry questions, and a particular way of practicing the inquiry that includes, letting those inquiry questions move through our somatic experience, our energetic experience, how to let those inquiry questions deepen us in the heart and as well open our mind so that we actually journey into deeper dimensions of consciousness using the relational holding of one another. Similarly, we blend inquiry with specific meditation practices that I've been evolving over many years. Some of them are kind of guided meditations. Others of them are instructions in meditation. And we also pepper all the work through with devotion, prayer, chanting, which I know is also part of the culture of One Spirit and is so beautiful for us all to really enter into that palpable experience together. So I know that many people like to do these things live stream, and One Spirit has tremendous faculties to make this work available even from a remote distance. But if you can make the effort and come to New York City and join me in person, there's no substitute for that. I really encourage you. I will be getting on a plane from San Francisco and I will be there in person. And I will delight in sharing with you as much as possible to help everyone who is present to open into grace, direct experience of the sacred, and to explore how that can be lived more substantially in your life and in our world that surely needs more of us to be graceful. So I don't know what else you'd like me to say, but I hope that will suffice.
Oh, Miranda, thank you so much. You really covered everything. And it sounds like it's going to be a truly amazing class and really, really valuable for anyone that is able to take the time. The class is going to be Saturday and Sunday, October 13th and 14th from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. It will be available in the classroom with Miranda. It will also be available video conference and recording. Miranda, we are very much looking forward to having you here. Thank you so much for joining us this year.
Thanks, Richard. My pleasure.
Bye-bye.